Hello there, everybody. My name is Justin, and for today's continuing education course, we are going to optimize and analyze sports nutrition. In improving performance and recovery for college baseball, this will be an intermediate course suitable for dietitians, coaches, and trainers looking to enhance and improve their understanding of sports nutrition. Do keep in mind there is a quiz at the end of this presentation, so pay attention. For the outline of this course, there's going to be 5 sections that we're going to break down. We're going to look at energy systems, carb loading, pre, during, and post exercise fueling strategies, recovery, nutrition guidelines, and ergogenic aids as they all relate to baseball. For section 1, we're going to look at the energy systems and macronutrient needs. So, baseball is very interesting in that it combines short bursts of explosive energy with long periods of low intensity activity. So, all three energy systems are going to be utilized. And the first one that we're going to analyze is the ATP phosphagen system. It's used for high intensity, short duration work. It uses ATP and PCR. It accounts for roughly 80% of short duration activity. Some activities in baseball that use this system include, oh, I hit a ball and I'm running my butt from home to first. So those types of base running, also pitchers throwing fast pitches, 80 to 100 mile per hour range, and fielding for a ground ball. The glycogen use is minimal as it relies primarily on ATP and PCR. Its energy cost is low per play, but there is an accumulation over time. It relies on the creatine, phosphate, and ATP system, and it has minimal carb and fat involvement. A thing to keep in mind with your macronutrient targets and for properly fueling these systems is that the baseball players specifically, need a balanced diet of carbs, proteins, and fats. And the proteins and fat is going to stay roughly the same. The fat's going to be around 20 to 30% of your total calories. Protein is going to be 1.6 to 2.2. A thing to keep in mind is more research is showing that higher levels of protein beyond this 1.6 to 2.2 range is beneficial. However, a thing to keep in mind is if you are working with an athlete or you're working with a group of athletes, especially college baseball players, and there's different positions and there's different types of bodies within that sport and different demands within that sport. So, as a good starting range, 1.6 to 2.2 is good, and you can increase that load of protein depending on the position and the positional demands. Carbs, however, for the ATP system, a 5 to 7 gram range is good for optimizing the ATP system. Now, for the glycolytic system, it works for moderate energy and accounts for exercises lasting 30 seconds to 2 minutes. 10 to 20% of those exercises specifically. It breaks down carbs to produce ATP and results in lactate accumulation due to a lack of oxygen. Some example baseball activities that utilize this sport include, oh, I just hit a ball and I am running from first. And oh, I just see he bobbled the ball at outfield. I'm going to second. So I'm trying to get a double or a triple in that play. That utilizes the glycolytic system. And oh, a ground ball's being hit to me. I'm going to try to make a double or a triple play. Boom, boom, boom. That's also going to use the glycolytic system. Its glycogen use is moderate. Its energy cost is roughly 500 to 800 kilocalories a day. It primarily uses carbs, and a good carb range to properly optimize this system is 6 to 8 grams. Now for the oxidative system, low intensity, long duration, endurance efforts. Uses oxygen to break down carbs, fats, and proteins for ATP production. It accounts for 5 to 10% low intensity, long duration work. It's utilized for recovery. Some example baseball activities that utilize this oxidative system. Oh, I just got a ball at outfield and I'm jogging back to the bench. That uses it. Games going in extra innings. I was watching Marlins Pirates the other day. It went to 12 innings. It was bad ball, but it counts. It uses the oxidative system and double headers as well. Glycogen use is low to moderate. Its energy cost is roughly 1,500 to 2,500 kilocalories a day. Games and training alike. Primarily uses fats and carbs. And a good carb range to utilize and optimize the oxidative system is 6 to 10 grams per kilogram. Now we'll look at some carb loading or how to optimize the carbs. So, carb loading is a strategy used to maximize glycogen stores in the muscles before before sporting events. So, carb loading is traditionally used for endurance sports, but some modified versions can be used for baseball, especially when it comes to the playoffs or double headers. And there's four main types that we're going to analyze, and there's going to be a couple that are going to be most beneficial for baseball or more optimal for baseball. First, you got classic carb loading. So this is the depletion method. Last around 7 days, you got a couple phases. Day 1 to 3, you deplete your glycogen with intense training and a low carb diet. Days 4 to 6, you taper plus a high carb diet. You taper to training, and day 7 is the rest before your event. So it's supposed to trigger supercompensation of your glycogen stores, though it does cause fatigue, mood swings, and is rarely used now. And it's probably it's not optimal for baseball. And let's face it, guys like Bartolo Colon are not going to use classic carb loading. I don't think Bartolo Colon even cares about carb loading. He just cares about eating carbs. The modified carb loading or the taper method lasts roughly 5 to 7 days. It has a gradual reduction in training volume over 5 to 7 days, and it increases the carb intake from 50 to 70% of calories over that same period. This will be easier on the body because it still achieves high muscle glycogen levels, and it's better suited for sports such as baseball. Then we look at rapid carb loading, the 24 to 48-hour method. Lasts 1 to 2 days. Used primarily, it can be utilized for back-to-back competitions like double headers or long-form tournaments. You have a high carb intake, 10 to 12 grams per body weight a day for 24 to 48 hours before the event. It does work well if your glycogen's already moderately full, and it does require low levels of activity before loading. Then you have the final one, the race week carb taper, the daily fueling focus. It's common in modern team sports like baseball. You want to increase that carb intake from 2 to 3 days prior to the event or the game, and this will help focus you. The focus for this type of method of tapering includes frequent meals and snacks, high carbs, low fiber, hydration with electrolytes, decrease the training load. So, though traditional carb loading is more associated with endurance sports, some modified versions like the modified or rapid approach are more applicable for baseball, and they could be best utilized for double headers, the playoffs, and the conference tournaments. Now we will look at some pre, during, and post-exercise fueling strategies. So there's different fueling strategies are needed depending on the position, depending on the pre, during, and post-exercise for games in baseball. So for pre-exercise fueling, proper fueling will help maximize glycogen stores and hydration. Say that 3 times fast. A good carb meal, 1 to 4 grams per kilogram, 3 to 4 hours prior to a game would be good, with a light carb snack 30 to 60 minutes prior. During the exercise or during the game, it's not traditionally needed unless the games go into extra innings or double headers. So if it is needed, a small, fast digesting carb source, 30 to 60 grams an hour, it will be best utilized for an interim moment in the game. And for post-exercise fueling, it is essential for proper recovery. You have the 3 R's when it comes to recovery: replenish, repair, and rehydrate. 3 to 1, 2 to 1 carb to protein ratio is great, especially if we want to maintain lean muscle mass. 60 to 90 grams of carbs and 30 grams of protein is optimal. 1 to 1.2 grams within 30 minutes of carbs, protein 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein such as whey, and you also want to have proper fluids with proper electrolytes to properly hydrate your athlete. I said properly a lot, but you get the point. For body composition considerations, things to keep in mind, there is position-specific demands. So, for example, infielders may want to maintain their lean mass more, and for pitchers, they have to manage fluctuations in lean mass and fat mass. So there is those things you have to factor in. And for the off season, you also want to focus on strength and hypertrophy, but that will be different for in season as well. The fueling will be focused more on maintaining performance and recovery capacity. Now we will look at some recovery nutrition guidelines. Now we'll look at several factors. We're going to look at protein first. Uh, an optimal intake is necessary for repairing muscles and is largely based upon training volumes. We have a helpful chart right here. Example, training loads, a low to moderate, low to moderate, moderate to high, high volume intensity, and caloric deficit. Different protein intakes will be necessary depending on if you want to maintain muscle repair maintenance, muscle repair and hypertrophy, and muscle preservation. So 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein within 30 to 60 minutes of post exercise is optimal and is more than ideal. Baseball players should aim for roughly 0.3 kilograms of protein in that 30 to 60 minute window. And you want to repeat this 3 to 4 hours across the day to maximize muscle protein synthesis. And there's also different types of protein that you want to consider. So with whey, it's fast digesting, it's high in leucine. This is an ideal protein for post exercise. The gym bros do got something right because whey is pretty darn good. Casein is a slower digesting protein. It's great for bedtime recovery. You can ingest a lot of casein and it will help with protein resynthesis in bed. And you have some animal-based proteins that could be utilized to complete the amino acid profiles such as chicken, lean beef, eggs, and dairy. And you also plant-based proteins, not athletes, proteins. Because you need a variety of rice and pea protein to ensure you're tackling that full nutritional spectrum. Some example of recovery meals that we could utilize is a wake shake with a banana for a fasting or post-training session, chicken plus a rice bowl, Greek yogurt and berries, and cottage cheese and nut butter before bed. Nutter butter, I guess. I can't believe it's not butter. For rehydration and electrolytes, in order to properly rehydrate players, several steps need to be implemented. First, you need to estimate your fuel loss. Weigh the athlete before and after the game. So for every pound loss, 16 to 24 ounces of fluid is needed. You want to rehydrate more than 100%, up to 150% of fluid loss to account for continued sweat and urine losses. For example, if an athlete loses 2 pounds, they need 32 to 48 ounces of fluid post-game. Then you want to include electrolytes, especially salt, especially sodium. Sweat isn't just water. Sodium is the main electrolyte loss. You want to replenish those lost electrolytes with sports drinks that can have 200 to 500 milligrams of sodium per 16 ounces, salted snacks, and oral rehydration solutions can be used like a liquid IV and a Pedialyte. It's not just used for getting hungover. It's actually can be utilized to rehydrate yourself and to replenish your electrolytes. All of these methods can help retain fluid and prevent dilutional hyponatremia. Say that 3 times fast. You also want to choose fluids that promote retention. So ice cold water is fine, especially in this Florida heat. However, milk is excellent as it provides fluid, sodium, carbs, and protein. Sport drinks can help moderate the heavy sweat loss. And another thing to keep in mind is you want to avoid alcohol or caffeine in high amounts post-game as it can increase urine loss. You also want to rehydrate for several hours. Don't chug it all at once. You want to aim to sip and replenish steadily over 4 to 6 hours post-game and combine your post-game meals to enhance absorption. And finally, you want to monitor your hydration status. So monitor your urine color. Yes, I know it's gross, but if it's pale yellow, you're good. If it's dark, probably go to the hospital or drink a lot of water. You also want to track your body weight, maintain consistency over time. And thirst isn't always reliable. That's something to keep in mind, especially in a hot or humid environment, especially in Florida. Now we can look at some anti-inflammatory foods. Omega-3s are found in fatty fish and some plant sources. They have anti-inflammatory properties. They can reduce muscle soreness and inflammation, improve muscle protein synthesis, support joint health, and may enhance immune function during heavy training periods. And then we have antioxidants. They're compounds that help neutralize free radicals formed during intense training or competition. These can be found in berries, leafy greens, turmeric, ginger. Antioxidants can reduce oxidative muscle damage, support immune defense during heavy competition, aid in tissue repair, and can help reduce DOMS. Some things to keep in mind with anti-inflammatory foods is that you want to avoid megadosing antioxidants right after strength training, as it could blunt adaptations. You want to focus on whole food based sources instead of supplements. You don't want to have your supplementation or your diet come solely from the supplements themselves. The supplements are supplements for a reason. You also want to have recovery friendly meals examples for anti inflammatory foods. Grilled salmon, quinoa, and spinach salad with berries and olive oil can tackle all those omega 3s, carbs, and antioxidants and healthy fats needed within a healthy diet. Post game meals and snacks are crucial for recovery and ongoing performance in baseball due to double headers, extra inning games, and so forth. So if you don't have a post game plan, you can miss that metabolic window for recovery. You could have slower muscle repair, lower glycogen, and decreased performance in upcoming games. Nutrition timing is important for several factors. It replenishes glycogen stores. Intense or prolonged play depletes glycogen. So without that replenishment, they might start to feel fatigued for the next session. Within a good time frame to replenish those stores is within 30 to 60 minutes post games, as the muscles are most sensitive to glucose uptake during that time. You also want to initiate muscle repair. So you have micro tears from swinging, throwing, and sprinting that need protein to rebuild those muscles. Inadequate post-game protein consumption can delay recovery and hurt your strength gains. So 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein post-game is ideal to initiate muscle repair. You also want to reduce muscle soreness and inflammation. So carbs and antioxidants from whole foods can help do that and help reduce muscle breakdown and oxidative stress and help athletes feel fresher for the next game. You also want to support hydrogen and electrolyte rebalance. So replenish those fluids, the sodium, potassium loss, and you want to make sure you're not dehydrated because it impairs focus, power output, and muscle coordination. You also want to improve sleep and next day readiness, as it can affect your hormones, your sleep recovery. Stuff that affects your sleep can hurt your muscle repair and your mental focus. A post-game meal snack, example for baseball. So you could throw within 30 to 60 minutes post-game to help with all this. Chocolate milk, a banana with whey protein, and so forth. Examples are listed on the slide right here. Within 2 hours after the game, a grilled chicken burrito with rice, not from Chipotle, too much sodium, with black beans, avocado, fruit smoothie, are just a good example of a good post-game meal to replenish your athlete. Supplements can also be used to enhance muscle recovery and reduce injury risk. Collagen and vitamin C can help with muscle and tendon recovery, connective tissue repair, injury prevention with tendon and ligament strength. And a good timing tip for collagen and vitamin C is 15 grams of collagen, 50 milligrams of vitamin C, 30 to 60 minutes before training. BCAAs are good, can reduce DOMS and support muscle protein synthesis. It can also help maintain lean mass during high training volumes or caloric deficits. And vitamin D and magnesium, it's good for muscle contraction, nerve function, and reducing cramping. It's linked, the deficiencies in vitamin D and magnesium are linked to higher stress factors, strains, and poor healing. It also, and with vitamin D, supports immune health and is critical during high training phases. Now we will look at some evidence-based ergogenic aids. Now, the NCAA has a list of legal and illegal substances. Protein powders, creatine, electrolytes, beta-alanine are legal and permitted by the NCAA. It's a ban of restricted substances, anabolic steroids. I'm looking at you, Barry Bonds. Hormonal agents, diuretics, and those are just some of the examples of the ban of restricted substances. Even legal supplements have to be NCSF certified to avoid contamination and failed drug tests. Some safety reminders to keep in mind with your ergogenic aids is you want to choose third-party tested supplements. You want to track athlete responses to dosage and timing, and review NCAA updates for substance compliances. And now we can look at some common ergogenic aids that are utilized for baseball. For creatine monohydrate, it increases intramuscular phosphoprotein, phosphocreatine, so that leads to rapid ATP resynthesis. It helps with explosive power for sprinting, hitting, throwing, and supports muscle mass and recovery. Good doses, 3 to 5 grams a day for maintenance. It's been extensively studied, so it's pretty safe, and it can be used for all positions, especially power hitters and pitchers. Hitters, pitchers. I feel pitiful when I watch the Rays because they are terrible on the pitching right now. Anyhow, beta alanine is a, beta alanine is another studied ergogenic aid that's useful for baseball. It increases muscle carnosine by buffering hydrogen ions during intense bouts of exercise. It improves repeated high intensity efforts. It could delay fatigue during those long multi inning games or multi doubleheader games. 4 to 6 grams per day. You want to split those doses to reduce tingling effects. Because, oh Lord, I remember when I first took a pre workout with beta alanine, and I felt like I was on crack because of the beta alanine. 2 to 4 weeks for full muscle saturation is perfect for its proper benefits to come to effect. And it can be utilized for fielders, catchers, and pitchers under high workload. Caffeine is another one, is a central nervous stimulant. It enhances focus, reaction time, and alertness. It can help those with strength and power and batting performance, reflexes, and defensive plays. A good dosage is 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram, 30 to 60 minutes before performance. The thing to keep in mind with caffeine is that its urinary caffeine limit is greater than 15 UGs per milliliter, and is banned usually around the 500 milligram dose or above that. Caffeine is most beneficial for hitters and fielders under pressure situations. Now we could look at sodium bicarbonate. Its purpose is to act as a buffer against acid buildup. A good dose is 0.2 to zero point 0.3 grams per kilogram of body weight, 60 to 90 minutes before your game. It delays fatigue during repeated max effort, and it enhances anaerobic capacity. And it could be utilized for pitchers who throw long innings or extra games, or those who throw repeated fastballs within a certain batter. Now, to conclude this presentation, what what are some key takeaways we can take from this presentation? Due to baseball's nature, hybrid energy demands are necessary for optimal performance. So proper nutrition in the ATP, glycolytic, and oxidative energy systems is needed to support strength, agility, and recovery. A proper macronutrient balance is crucial, as you want carbs for training, games, repeated bursts and short explosive movements, protein for muscle repair and hypertrophy, and fat for long-term energy use and overall health of the player. For proper fuel timing, it enhances performance. Pre, during, and post-game fueling protocols will optimize energy availability and recovery. Hydration and electrolyte balances are often overlooked, but they are essential. For carb optimization does matter. A full carb loading isn't always necessary, but strategic timing can improve performance, especially during doubleheaders or the playoffs. Playoffs, recovery starts immediately post game. You want to aim for a proper carb protein mix within 30, 60 minutes. You want to reinforce hydration, replenish your glycogen, and reduce muscle soreness. Ergogenic aids can help if they're evidence based. So, creatine, caffeine, beta alanine are all examples of ergogenic aids that show promise. You want to always use batch tested supplements, NSF supported. And in conclusion, a well structured nutritional plan supports physical performance, body composition goals, and long term athlete health for collegiate baseball. And now, quiz time. I'm going to let this play on for a little bit. We'll give you the questions right here. Please feel free to pause and take your time with the quiz, and sources and answers will be provided at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your time. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What nutrition strategies have worked best for your athletes? And leave a like, drop a question in the comments, and please provide feedback. And thank you for your time. Once again, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.